Welcome to the Look Club, where we bring virtual reality into reality.
Today we're going to discuss, wait for it.
No more waiting for it. I've waited long enough.
Well, I don't know. Jess and I had to wait 4 hours to see the key.
Oh, well, in that case, I've been waiting 8 months.
Well, you know what they say. The waiting is the hardest part. Every day you see one more card. You take it on faith. You take it to the heart. The waiting is the hardest part.
But is that true for VR though?
Right. In VR, the hardest part might be trying to figure out how to use a Steam key on an Oculus headset.
Or making sure you have enough space for download on an NTFS compatible drive.
But by the end of this Look Club meeting, we will all have seen the key.
Hooray!
I still think it's a shame though they went to all this trouble creating a live installation with actors, and so few people will get to see it.
It's crazy. The line at Oculus Connect was capped for the whole day's slots before the showroom floor even opened.
Yeah, some people probably flew all the way to San Francisco for the VR conference and missed an entire day just to see it.
That sets a really high bar for any experience to be worth it.
Also, Celine Tricart is a well-known VR director, and everyone knows Oculus put a lot of money into this. So even before the line, there was a high bar.
On the other hand, after waiting, a viewer wants to be able to justify their investment and time spent. So they might actually be more inclined to like it.
That's true.
I'm glad they were finally able to release a version for VR in 2020.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see and compare the differences between the LBE, the location-based entertainment version, and the VR version.
It's worth noting, though, that for both, the immersive point of view is the same.
Yes, both are disembodied, first-person narrative, participant mortal experiences.
There's a voiceover that's telling the story, but it's not your story.
And you can affect things in the story scene, just not how you experience the story scene.
What's amusing about this piece is that I had heard so much about it, but I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, something about the key made me think it would be about magic.
And the poster art, it's very celestial with these 3 glowing orbs.
And the immersive installation is shrouded in black and mystery.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but it has nothing to do with magic or outer space.
It does have a little bit to do with dreams, both literal and metaphoric.
Okay. We managed to go 8 months without you telling me. Let's see if we can hold out for 16 more minutes.
Okay, ladies, are you ready? Let's start our headsets.
Hold your tongues.
Open your apps and enter VR.
Enter VR!
We have many visitors. My name is Anna. I don't know where I come from. I don't remember my childhood. But I keep having dreams about it. So I've started collecting them here. Hoping one day I will remember. In every one of my dreams, there's this mysterious key. Sometimes it's hidden, sometimes it's in plain sight. I want to remember where the key comes from.
So, what did we think?
I loved those adorable little orbs. I played with them for long enough that I really connected with them.
Ah, but then they got sucked out of the room.
I felt that loss. That feeling carried through the entire journey.
I didn't feel connected. There were 3 orbs for 2 hands, so I figured I was never really meant to hold on to them all.
I could see how that would feel rigged. I mean, if there's no possibility for success, then the stakes don't really feel real.
Yes, like the voiceover at the beginning, she was asking for my help.
Yeah, to figure out what her dreams meant.
But then in the ocean scene, she figures it out on her own.
Without any clues or reasoning.
I felt a little lied to. Like, why was I even in the scenes up to now? She didn't need me.
Well, for any progressive or social change to happen, there needs to be a shared trauma. And the experience of losing the orbs is the feeling of loss that, when connected with the refugee experience, can motivate the viewer to push for social change.
I like that in theory, but I didn't feel connected to the story.
In the installation, before you put the headset on, an actor was pantomiming the opening narration.
The standalone VR brought in the narration, but only had a character for a few moments.
Wait, it did?
Wait, it showed a character?
It left quickly, and it was apparently easy to miss.
I mean, when the live actor was asking for help, I felt a responsibility to sit, listen, and respect.
See, I didn't connect the voice to any character, and I didn't know who I was.
I was just listening as me, Erika. I didn't yet have a sense that I was a refugee.
It seemed weird to be me inside someone else's dream, and I didn't know I was a refugee until the end.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I think maybe Celine wanted to have this like Sixth Sense style reveal of like, I'm a refugee.
I felt that in the LBE version, but not in the standalone VR.
I'm glad you agree. And Erika, you mentioned the orbs creating a feeling of loss.
In the LBE.
In the standalone VR, I didn't feel a sense of loss. I felt more frustration. I could play with the orbs, but I couldn't do much else. I couldn't do anything to help like she'd asked me to.
Maybe they wanted you to feel frustrated. I mean, being a refugee is a very frustrating experience.
I totally get that. I just wish my frustration were a result of the storytelling.
It's the difference between being frustrated that the Oregon Trail froze and you need to restart, or being frustrated because there's a kettle crossing.
What about the frustration that your co-hosts on a show about cutting-edge technology are making references to games from the 1980s?
See, people get frustrated in life all the time, but just because outdated references aren't making you more sympathetic to refugees, we need story to make that emotional connection.
It's why we cared that they died from dysentery.
You made our point. I think we should get with the times. Magic Island, Apple TV, Fortnite.
I guess Celine wasn't able to translate the real world components to the standalone VR in an effective way.
Yeah, it's not a copy and paste situation.
We react differently to the same content depending on context or medium and its level of immersion or interactivity.
Like in the LBE version, at the end, there were black and white photos on a TV, on the physical wall, in the real space.
Right, and they had the live actor just Vanna White the LCD touchscreens.
In the standalone VR, those black and white photos were on virtual screens in the virtual space.
And the viewer are asked to turn on the photos by touching it. It's really not as magical of an experience.
Yeah, when you have to do it yourself. I mean, in VR, the black and white photos of real refugee experiences were competing with the CGI refugee experience depicted outside the windows of your virtual abandoned apartment.
In a way that they don't in the LBE.
I kept thinking it would be just as effective, if not more so, without the virtual space.
Yeah, I think you clued into the original intention, and I agree.
Entering and exiting the headset is its own kind of ritual.
Yeah, kind of like taking off a blindfold, it just rejiggers your mind a bit.
Yeah, having and not having a blindfold makes a big difference. Like, every surprise party would fail.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of expressing just how big the difference is.
To me, the whole thing, up until being in the destroyed apartment, feels like unnecessary backstory.
Whereas at the end of the LBE, we're coming back to the apartment, which is in the physical space.
We don't necessarily need to start in the real world for this version to be effective, but we need to transition. In the LBE, we started in the real world, and then they had us enter into a dream state. And in the VR, we started off in the dream state, right from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like if in The Wizard of Oz, you start in Oz.
And at the end, Dorothy is back in her room, and her room is in Technicolor, but her friends and family are still in black and white.
Yeah, it's two different movie-going experiences. And most of the world will only get to see the starts in Oz version.
So the key moments that made the key for me were the orbs, the paperwork processing, and receiving a key and information at the end.
I love old keys. I want an old key. And also information on how I can help refugees.
Well, I'll put information in the description below.
I did not realize that the table scene was about the refugee experience.
It resonated with me, but I've been actively volunteering in refugee relief work, so I guess I worry that maybe this piece is a bit too metaphorical for people who are unfamiliar with the refugee experience to emotionally connect.
In the standalone VR, definitely. Erika, are you going to base your rating on the LBE or the VR?
LBE.
So with that, thumb roll please. 1 1/4 thumbs up. So to summarize, the key is a disembodied first-person narrative participant mortal experience.
And it's effective in the LBE because we're interacting with an actor who represents the narrator and grounds us in the space and story.
It lets us experience emotions present in the refugee experience from a first-hand perspective. And it leverages a real-world call to action.
And it's not effective in the standalone VR experience because
The beginning from the live installation isn't effectively translated into VR, and without the transition between locations, the story just doesn't feel the same.
And the ending in VR doesn't make effective use of the medium.
To learn more about the key and where and how to find it, visit our description below or our website, thelook.club.
There's no place like home.
There's no place like home.
Until next time, there's no place like home.